Listen, there's a lot of money to be made in scamming, you know. I'm not trying to encourage anybody to be a scammer, but there's a lot of money to be made in scamming if you do it right. I'm just saying, there's a lot of prison time to be had too. And since I'm not really into the prison time stuff, I'm not going to get into all that other stuff. Okay, so let's talk about this one scammer right here. So, online scammer spent a fortune on luxury cars, including Lamborghini and a bunch of other things, which is what they normally do. I never get why these brothers go through so much risk to make that money, and then they make the money and then they just throw it away, thinking that tomorrow is going to be the same and they're going to get the money again, when in fact the law is closing in on you and it's about to be the end of your party. They are about to piss on your parade. Okay, so the story goes like this. His name is TJ Fletcher, and he is like, remember that other guy named Hush Puppy? This is TJ Fletcher. TJ Fletcher is one of the top of the line choppers. Okay, so TJ Fletcher, he is known as a 100 million pound scammer. Pounds, as in British pounds. And you know the British pounds is worth more than the US dollar, right? So 100 million British pound scammer. He was caught in Britain's biggest ever anti-fraud operation, spent his ill-gotten gains on a fleet of luxury cars, designer watches, and jewelry. This is what was said in court, as he is now in custody and facing the music. TJ Fletcher, 35 years old, who was described as an extremely bright young man, very intelligent. He developed a software tool called iSpoof.cc. This software that he developed, first of all, to develop a software, you have to be smart anyways, okay? He is described as very intelligent, a techie kind of guy, and he developed a software tool called iSpoof.cc that enabled criminals to disguise their cell phone numbers and trick unsuspecting people into believing that they were being called by their banks. Yo, could you imagine you sitting at home and you get that phone call? Hello? Hello, yes, Mr. Smith? This is Mr. Jones calling from Bank of America. We're calling about your checking and your savings account, blah, blah, blah. And you're like right into the phone call because you actually think it's your bank. Okay. For a monthly subscription fee of £5,000, £5,000 per month, fraudsters had access to his technology, allowing them to target millions of victims around the world. The site was so popular among phone scammers that at one stage, it was estimated that 20 people every minute were being contacted using this illegal software tool. I'm just giving you the numbers so you can actually do the math to see how much money he might have been generating by this illegal software that he created. It's $5,000 a month subscription, £5,000 British pounds per month for subscription. And at one point, it is estimated that 20 people were being called every minute through this illegal software tool. More than 200,000 victims in the UK alone, many of them elderly, lost a combination of £43 million. Wow. While losses globally, because he was hitting up other countries, while losses globally topped £100 million. The website which he ran, which had around 60,000 customers. Do the math. It's £5,000 a month. At the time he was busted, his website had 60,000 customers paying £5,000 per month. Earned over $3.2 million in bitcoins in less than 3 years, with Fletcher himself was raking in around 2 million, which allowed him to indulge in a luxury lifestyle. Southwark Crown Court heard how he rented a dockland apartment with views over the city of London skyline, living a high life. He also owned a Lamborghini supercar that's worth almost £250,000, and he spent £120,000 on two matching Range Rover SUVs, one for him and a matching one for his girlfriend. When the police raided his flat, they found a money counter because he was making the money so fast he couldn't even count the money by hand. He had money counters. They found a lot of designer jewelry, Rolexes and all that. They found one particular Rolex watch, which was not your base level Rolex watch. That watch alone was worth £11,000. Fletcher, who is a father of one, he has a child. He was snared by the police last year in what is the biggest anti-fraud operation that was mounted in the UK. John Ojakovo, this is the prosecutor. The prosecutor said, "This is a case which concerns the facilitation of fraud on an industrial scale by iSpoof, the website. What it did, in brief, it provided tools for fraudsters out there to deceive unwitting members of the public." Remember, he created the software, and you could subscribe to using it by paying £5,000 per month. But a lot of people will say, damn, £5,000 per month, that's a lot of money. But if you subscribe and you pay £5,000, you can make 100 and something thousand, 200 and something £1,000 back per month, or even more. Depends on how hard you chopping. You understand? You just got to dedicate yourself and go in there, no sleep, drink a lot of coffee, and just be up all night, just hitting different phone numbers, just calling people, running rackets, make your money back. He went on. There was no upper level on the number of the victims of a potential losses or other harm that was envisioned against the victims. That's what it says. As well as allowing fraudsters to pose as bank employees, the software also allowed users to trick their victims into entering new card details by claiming that the information held by a trusted organization was out of date. You know, when your bank calls you and says, or when your bank sends you an email that says you need to go ahead and update your contact information, go ahead and check to see and verify if this card number is correct, if those last three digits on the back of your card, if those are correct. They would send those to a lot of people, and they would just automatically think that it was from their bank, so they would put in all their information and send it back. One victim lost £3 million. This was a victim who had some money. One victim lost £3 million, while the 4,785 people who reported being targeted to action fraud, they lost the average of £10,000 per person. This is according to the police report. The court heard how Fletcher, a former drama student, carried out market research, promoted new products, and encouraged users to commit fraud. New way of making money. I've got it for you. In a message to customers on January 3rd of 2022, he wished them a happy new year, and then he said, "All let's get back to work and back to getting to the bag." Getting to the bag, for those of you who live under a rock for many years now, is our way of saying you're securing that money. Whether it's legal or illegal, I'm getting to the bag, right? It's an American term that obviously is being used globally now. Of 10 million fraudulent calls that were made, 40% of those were in the United States of America. 35%. I gotta laugh. 35% were in the UK, and the rest of them were spread across to other countries where people might have some money. Last month, Fletcher pleaded guilty to 4 charges, including making or supplying an article for use in fraud. He pleaded guilty to encouraging or assisting the commission of an offense. He pleaded guilty to possession of criminal property, and he pleaded guilty to transferring criminal property between November 30th of 2020 and November 8th of 2022. Simon Baker KC, Queen's Counsel, said his guilty plea reflects his genuine regret and remorse for his actions and his sincere wish to apologize to those who he has hurt, harmed, to those who might have suffered as a result of the frauds that were perpetrated against them as a result of his creation of iSpoof website. Mr. Baker described Fletcher as an extremely bright young man who could have had a great future. It is extremely unfortunate that intellect was not channeled into gainful activities. Fletcher will be sentenced today. Today is May 19th of 2022. I'll be following the story up to see how long they will be giving him in prison. Thomas Short, specialist prosecutor for the Crown Prosecution Service, said fraud is an insidious crime, and the cost to many victims in this case has not just been financial, it has also caused huge emotional distress and devastation. Helen Rance, who is a Metropolitan Police Detective Superintendent, said, "I am incredibly proud of my team in the cybercrime unit who ran this investigation, resulting in Fletcher pleading guilty because they had too much evidence on him. He was the ringleader of a slick fraud website which enabled criminals to scam innocent people of millions of pounds without being detected." A lot of those scammers right now are looking for somebody else who can create another iSpoof or something similar because they were obviously making a whole lot of money out of it. It is estimated that in 2 years, it's a 2-year span, his iSpoof generated over 100 million pounds in 2 years. Could you imagine if he ran something like this as a legitimate business? Oh man. But it's illegal money, so you don't have to pay any taxes, and you have no one to answer to. I hope he stashed some of that money somewhere. He probably did, and when he gets out, he will probably be right back at it. Or maybe this is somebody that the government has to keep tabs on. I know a couple of choppers right now who would be glad to link up with. Let me leave this right where it's at. Leave your comments in the comment section below. Tell me what you think about this one. And I'll catch you on the next video. Y'all be careful out there when you get those emails saying it's from your bank, or those phone calls that are saying it's from your bank and they need you to enter certain types of information. Hang up, call your bank directly to verify that it is them. I have had this happen to me before, and I thought it was suspicious. I had one phone call recently that I thought was very suspicious, right up until we got to the part where the guy said I needed to enter certain information, give my full date of birth, and all this other stuff. And I said, my bank has never asked me for those types of information before, because those types of information are already at the bank. And just out of curiosity, I thought, I feel like I'm being scammed. And I said it to the person on the phone, and I hung up the phone. And I called my bank, and my bank said, we never made any such calls. Right? So be careful out there. I'll catch y'all on the next video. I'm out. Peace.